So a bit of a different video this time with a different vibe. We're joined by Fire Bambi in my furniture deprived home to talk about Eula, her character, backstory and lore. Recently there has been some controversy surrounding her coming from, you know, the usual place. And quite frankly the ones calling for her boycott either do not understand her backstory or they simply only care about their own dogma. But before I go into the bulk of the video, I want to address a mistake I made in the last lore video. In the description of the Wings of Dissension, the girl who gives the traveller the wing glider is not the same as the one that gives them the cloth. Originally I thought the two were being used interchangeably, but as somebody pointed out in the comments, it says, "You found a new use for this cloth," suggesting it became a wing glider after you received the first one from Amber. This means the girl is most likely a reference to her. As a result, there is a 50.8% chance that the one who sent the traveller is female, because that is the percentage of the world's population that is female. So the odds are in favour of me being right. This is a joke, by the way, don't take it seriously. I know some brainlit will try and argue that it doesn't apply to a fictional video game, and now that I've drawn attention to this, the chance that somebody's going to comment this is probably skyrocketed. But let's talk Eula, also known as the Spindrift Knight. Why is she considered controversial? Well, for me personally, it's the same reason why I'm so interested in her backstory and I'm looking forward to her story quest. Eula is the descendant of the Lawrence clan, who were once the aristocracy that occupied the power vacuum after the fall of Decarabian. For this reason, in their eyes, she has some kind of original sin, suggesting she is guilty for the atrocities of her ancestry, despite her never engaging in them, as they happened 1,000 years ago. So let's go deeper into the history of the Lawrence clan to understand what she's really guilty of. During the time of Old Mondstadt, the Lawrence clan actually survived outside the God of Storm's influence in the frozen wilderness. I'm not sure if Leonard was part of this clan, as it is unconfirmed. However, it seems he was around at this time, situated outside of the city, so there is a possibility that he had close ties or was part of this clan. The fact they were outside the shelter of Old Mondstadt fighting for survival highly suggests they were very resourceful and adaptable. For this reason, out of all the clans, it makes sense that the House of Lawrence would be the ones to occupy the power vacuum created after the fall of the tyrant Decarabian. Barbatos reshaped the landscape and New Mondstadt was established soon after. From here, the Lawrence clan became the ruling class of Mondstadt. At this point, there were two other main clans, the Gunhilda clan, Jean's ancestry, and the yeah, sorry. Any attempt at me saying this one is going to be wrong. I tried looking it up, but nope. So, Imalonka clan it is. As far as I'm aware, there are no characters in game who descend from the Imalonka clan at the moment. With time, the House of Lawrence became more powerful and more corrupt. They started to strip down a lot of Mondstadt's traditions, and they tore down the statue of Barbatos. There were gladiatorial games that came from the unpronounceable clan's traditions. These were ceremonial, but the Lawrence clan turned them into a form of entertainment blood sport. Venessa, a Muritan, a name that seems to derive from Murata Himiko from Honkai Impact, was enslaved by the aristocracy alongside her people. She served as a combatant in these gladiatorial games. Later, Ursa the Drake was becoming a threat to Mondstadt, so Lord Lawrence decided to offer the Muritans as a form of sacrifice under the guise of a gladiatorial game. He said if she were to win, she would regain her freedom. To the underclasses, this was considered to be morally reprehensible. In response to their protests and with great confidence, Lord Lawrence upped the ante and pledged to hand over all his property and the key to Mondstadt to her if she were to succeed. During the conflict, the Muritans were becoming overwhelmed and began to retreat, but the Lawrence clan started firing arrows, stopping them in their tracks. With nowhere to run, Venessa was forced to fight and stood face to face with Ursa. It was at this moment Barbatos descended, empowering her so that she could fend off the Drake. He then ensured that Lord Lawrence would stick to his word. This began the slow fall of the aristocracy. From here there was a big uprising. Venessa was joined by the Dawn Knight, Ragandinda, whose descendants would establish the Dawn Winery. Alongside them was the last member of the Wanderer's Troop, Kreislied. The Wanderer's Troop were a group of travelling musical fighters who rebelled against the Lawrence clan in the past. Unfortunately they failed and they were all sentenced to death. The only exception was Kreislied, who was spared because he was a descendant of the House of Lawrence. Instead he was exiled, which allowed him to establish an underground organisation to go against the aristocracy. Finally, there was the Gunhilda clan, who were always on the side of the people, so they were never too fond of the actions of the Lawrence clan. They too joined Venessa in the revolt. To make matters worse for the aristocracy, Barbatos subverted their soldiers by creating a fake treaty that claimed that the nobility had the intent to sell them off as slaves to Rex Lapis. Information of this document was leaked, causing many of the soldiers to switch sides and join in on the revolt. Upon their fall, they were exiled from Mondstadt. It is not clear where to though. I think it may be somewhere near Eula, as Eula has some ties there. From here, the Knights of Favonius were established to ensure tyranny did not rise again. The Lawrence clan were a ruling class of slave owners. This is why Eula is considered controversial and why people have called for a cancellation. But as always, this is a knee-jerk reaction devoid of any context or nuance, not to mention the mindset is a pathway towards creative bankruptcy. The view they hold is exactly the same as that of the people of Mondstadt in-game. As a result of her heritage, she's treated with contempt. In response to this, Eula has a very sarcastic personality where she plays into their views, making it out as if she's conspiring to overthrow the Knights of Favonius from within. In reality, she seeks some kind of pathway to redemption for herself and her family name. She appears to have a degree of respect for her lineage's reputation before the time of the aristocracy, and claims it has fallen from grace. She does not condone their actions, quite the contrary. She is willing to go against her namesake if they refuse to give up their corrupt ways, and if they dare do harm to Mondstadt, she's more than willing to renounce the name itself to defend the city. As for her peers and the Knights of Favonius, they think very highly of her. Grandmaster Varka believes she's on the same level as Jean, which is quite the compliment. As for Jean herself, she is very fond of Eula and believes her to be simply misunderstood. Eula rarely returns to Mondstadt and spends her time outside on the field, so Jean relies on her while she has her hands tied with other matters in the city. Eula has a very special relationship with Amber. They would often accompany each other out on trips into the field. On their return, Amber would often tell the people of Mondstadt of Eula's achievements during their time away. With time, this has slowly shifted people's view, as Amber is very loved and respected. If she can see the good in her, there must be something to it, right? Good girl Amber. How could anybody hate this girl? Except Mihoyo, of course. Eula was raised with a strict educational regime. Some members of the Lawrence clan still believe themselves to be the ruling class, and that one day they will reclaim their former glory. To them, current-day Mondstadt lacks etiquette and taste. The dance of sacrifice has been a long-held tradition that predates the aristocracy, and it has multiple acts that represent different clans. The people of Mondstadt long expelled the tradition, but the House of Lawrence continues to honour it. The third act represents their house, where the eldest daughter would be pushed to perform it to an extreme perfection. They used to say that bleeding toes was a sign of their pride. Due to the Lawrence clan losing their nobility, it became less prominent in their curriculum and became more of a pastime. Eula is the eldest daughter of the present-day Lawrence clan, so she used to perform this dance in her youth between her intense studying. This is why her attacks with the sword almost come across as a dance. She had attempted to free herself from the House of Lawrence, only to struggle to be accepted by others. After leaving her clan behind, she became the student of an old forgotten outrider in Eula. This outrider was most likely Amber's grandfather, as he was also from Eula, and there are various hints towards him becoming a Knight of Favonius. She also uses a bone flute to mimic sounds to scare off potential threats. The bone flute originates from Eula, so the outrider is most likely the one who taught her how to use it. His words of wisdom set her on the path she pursues today, and in turn, she received her vision. Eula seems to be in a spot where she respects the traditions of her clan, while being very much against its mistakes and the stigma surrounding it. She is very much a victim of their past atrocities, more than anyone else in the modern day. Not only that, she's also victimised by those who she seeks to protect. This somewhat makes her quite noble, sticking to her moral principles and doing the right thing despite the irrational hatred of those who believe her to be guilty of an original sin. Her controversial backstory is what gives her depth, and for me makes her an extremely interesting character. I'm personally looking forward to her story quest, and I hope Amber is involved too. Anyway, let me know what you think of this kind of video. I was thinking about doing a lore in 60 seconds for her, but I figured I'd try something new. If you like this kind of video, let me know in the comments. Also, I have a second channel where I play through the story in a more comical manner. There you'll get some of my raw reactions to the story quests. I've been playing through both acts of the Zhongli quest, so they'll be going up over the coming weeks. So if you're interested, go check it out. As for me, I'm gonna go farm materials for Eula. Facepalmy the Third, and Fire Bambi, out.